I'm doing a giveaway. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can enter to win. What is up, everybody? I'm No Lux Given, and today we are going to be taking a look at the game that got me Mythic in Storybook Brawl for the month of August. And as you can see at the top of the screen, with my first win of the day bonus still active, all that I need to do is get a 4th place or better finish to get something good. So we're gonna play a little bit of tempo. Didn't have the best hero selection options there, but we are going to wind up going with Celestial Tiger, which is a very powerful hero, just not generally a powerful hero when you think tempo. Celestial Tiger is much more of a high-rolly hero that can do some pretty incredible things. And we are going to start off by picking Humpty Dumpty, which is a pretty tempo-oriented pick. And then I roll the die, pick up a Genie's Wish, which gets me a free Black Cat, and I pick up a Happy Little Tree to go alongside that. I did definitely think about rolling this turn and just rolling for a Humpty Dumpty or maybe Cindy or some other good early game units because, well, Black Cat, Happy Little Tree, Bossy aren't super impressive. However, Genie's Wish, I think that can be a lot of fun to work with. So that's what I wind up going for, and that makes us pretty strong on a lot of these early combats here. And then I'm going to pick up another Humpty Dumpty on turn 2, and rather than just picking up another unit, I felt like we had a little bit of econ because we had these Black Cat and this Happy Little Tree that I didn't particularly care for. So then I'm going to wind up selling off the Black Cat to pick up a Humpty Dumpty, which is exactly what I was planning to do in this spot. From here, I'm going to backline my Happy Little Tree, hope that the Pied Piper is not too strong, that it's going to take down my buffed up Humpty Dumpty, but it's pretty unlikely that it will be able to because Humpty Dumpty is getting double the bonus from the Easter egg treasure, and then of course when it survives, both of my units are getting +1/+1 twice from that Easter egg treasure as well. But it's also getting, all of my upgraded units are getting +6/+6 because of Celestial Tiger as well. And doing some egg strats on Celestial Tiger can definitely be pretty powerful. It definitely feels more towards the high rolly side of things, like I said, despite being relatively a tempo pickup. I think that there is definitely a lot to be said for rolling while I was still on 2.2 and hoping to find that egg. Obviously, that really worked out for us. Now I just have to hope that this egg doesn't get cracked, and the rest of this game should be cracked. We'll be able to just continue to grow this Humpty Dumpty faster than we would on any other hero because it's getting +2/+2 each turn rather than just that +1/+1. And I'd also like to have Prized Pig start to survive. Not enough that I'm going to go ahead and cast the Luna's Grace on it, but I definitely consider it. And then on this turn, I just wind up picking up a Good Witch and throwing a little bit more health on this Happy Little Tree as well. And if Happy Little Tree can start to survive, start to get +2/+2 each turn, it's already a 519 just from its natural growth and then the supporting of Good Witch. But we could really make that into a formidable unit as well. So I'm really playing into the Easter egg of it all, and I think I'm playing synergistic cards with the Easter egg. And then of course, I just had a video, I think 2 days ago, how to Easter egg in Storybook Brawl. And I'm definitely taking all of those lessons with me as well. We are going to build on some of those concepts and try to play a pretty similar strategy. If you're just picking up those 4-cost supports when you hit level 4, obviously not super synergistic with Tiger, but it is just very good with the Easter egg treasure. From here, I did think about picking up the Greedy. However, I do think that the Crafty building into a tier 2 treasure plus the Tiny is probably just a little bit better, both for the time being and for the future. The Greedy isn't going to stay on the field for that long. We are going to want to try to work in some Sporkos, some Lady of the Lakes. But the other thing that Crafty will do is build towards a tier 2 treasure, which we can double up with the Tiger and maybe have some fun with. But other than that, definitely going to focus on trying to find some ranged units, trying to find some more support units. hoping that this egg doesn't get cracked, but if it does get cracked sometime soon, or like it's not going to get cracked anytime soon, I don't think. So I think that we will still be pretty good, and it gets very, very close to cracking on this combat, but we are going to be lucky enough to have Happy Little Tree survive, the egg survive, and then also Prized Pig. So doing pretty well for ourselves. We're going to have a little bit of extra gold this turn, and that gold is going right into XP. Feels a little bit awkward to turbo level past level 4, because it's going to mean that we really don't get too many opportunities to pick up Sporko, Lady of the Lake, Friendly Spirit, which I relied so much on in the previous video. However, it's tough to just give all of that up. Eyeing up some different options here, but ultimately going to go with the monster book. Then I have to decide, do I want to lock onto another Happy Little Tree alongside a third XP spell? At some point, buying too many XP spells, I feel like, is going to catch up with me a little bit though. So I'm not going to worry about going for that just yet. I feel like that'll be just a little bit too greedy. I don't want to just like guarantee that my egg gets cracked, because I'm just not improving my board at all. And you can see this combat is still quite close with everything but my egg going down and not having too much that I'm left with. But now we're up against the ghost, and this player has been a ghost for a long time, so we don't have to worry about our egg getting cracked here. We're probably pretty safe, and this could be a good time to pick up some other treasures like Nyan Sea Terror. Could be a good time to pick up XP now, or we could go for some tier 2 treasures with something like Happy Little Tree and Crafty, rolling for some things like that. I think this is a fine time to do it, and we're still pretty powerful. We can also take Spinning Gold because we are going to wind up winning this combat. We do eventually find a Lady of the Lake, but we just don't have enough coin to pick it up this turn, unfortunately. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in this Happy Little Tree, because I know that all of my characters are going to get +2/+2 from my Easter egg this turn. Doesn't matter what I actually put in, so we can scale that Happy Little Tree for free. 5 extra gold with Prized Pig plus Spinning Gold this turn, which is all pretty fantastic. I'll pick up another Golden Chicken. I am not super inclined to pick up all of these 3-cost units here, just because they would only be pairs. If they were triples, obviously I'd pick them up, but I just feel like it's such a gold investment to go into them. And then I actually end Cindy just to take it out of the pool and hang on to everything else that I am working on here. I'll pick up a locked chest after connecting on Crafty, and I'm going to be level 6 next turn already. Yeah, this game has definitely happened quite quickly. So it's just, yeah, a very interesting game. I'm going to wind up picking up a Lady of the Lake here. I should mention that of all of the treasures I could have gotten, Locked Chest is the best possible tier 2 treasure, because that'll hatch into 2 tier 3 treasures, which will both be doubled up by the Celestial Tiger. And if one of those 2 treasures is Treasure Map, then we can also obviously have a really fabulous game with that. So we've definitely taken some of our tempo high rolly and turned that into a little bit more of, or I should say we've taken some of our tempo and turned that into a way to get high rolly with it all. This battle is going to be really close, and my opponent is actually going to wind up cracking my egg, which is a little bit unfortunate, but you know what? We're on 6.0. I can deal with it. We can rebuild. We can make something better, and that is going to start by picking up a good boy. And now I think we definitely have a good sense of direction here. I'll also pick up a Happy Little Tree, see what we can do with that. And I don't hate Needle Nose Daggers. I don't hate the Jumping Beans, but I can also just skip on this treasure and cast a Gigantify on Good Boy, and I feel like that will be pretty good for us. So 2 different ways that these combats can play out now. Either Good Boy is dying, giving my other good units a bunch of stats for this stage of the game. Gotta remember, we are 3 XP up, so this is technically 5.0 right now. Definitely feeling good for my stats for that stage of the game. And If somehow miraculously Good Boy can survive, it's just going to scale incredibly off of this egg. My opponent with a really good combat for themselves, they shrivel the Good Boy, which means that I don't have any stats to pass on, and then they also Medusa and attack into Happy Little Tree, my biggest creature. So we wind up taking a ton of damage there, 14 down to 28, but you know what? We still have 28 health left, and we are playing up against a ghost yet again, which is pretty lucky. I'm going to go ahead and cast a Knighthood on Good Boy here, and that does a number of things. Don't forget, we still have this Easter egg plus Celestial Tiger, so that just gives the Good Boy +6/+6 because it's now upgraded. And again, same kind of thing, like playing up against the ghost, there's a chance Good Boy just survives here. That's why I was bringing it up. I'm pretty sure in at least one of these combats, my Good Boy just gets to survive and pass on totally free scaling, which is obviously very strong. We're going to also wind up locking onto a Good Boy, and we'll be able to pick up that next turn, and then we'll also have the treasures from this locked chest, and we'll see what we can do with those. Good Boy is just going to wind up barely surviving on this combat, which is totally awesome, giving that +2/+2 for free. Then finding treasure map for our first treasure is absolutely great, and we get to pick up a tier 7 treasure, and that's got to be World Tree for all of these Good Boys that we have found. I think I definitely could have considered picking up a Puff there, because when Puff dies, it'll give all of my characters +1/+1 permanently, since all of my characters are Puff. I don't remember if I just didn't see it, but winds up working out pretty well because we roll and find another Good Boy. So we are totally loaded up on Good Boys here. We could even try to pick up something like Sporko at this point to pump up the Good Boys, because all of my characters will be good. Doesn't matter what I add to the table. I think that really I didn't pick up the Puff. I don't know. I think, to be honest, I probably just didn't see it. But there is a lot to be said just once you have the World Tree, picking up any tier 6 units. If we can find Oni Tyrant, if we can find Lordy, all of those things are super powerful. We are going to wind up playing up against a pretty tough opponent here that has a bunch of lightning dragons, but we are just way too strong, so we are going to wind up surviving with a Happy Little Tree regardless. And now we're on to the top 3. It's myself, this Muerte, and then we also have JEBAS at the top of the lobby playing Miri, who we haven't gotten to play against in a little bit, but that's okay. I wind up casting a Drink Me spell, thinking that if we find another Knighthood, we could sell 2 things for it and Knighthood this turn. Then the only question is, do I want to hang on to the pig while we play up against the ghost? I want to sell off 2 of my characters, and ultimately I decide to sell off Happy Little Tree and hang on to this Good Witch. I don't know, your mileage may vary on that, but grabbing another upgraded Good Boy I thought was really strong. Being able to play 2 of them up against the ghost, if one dies, it'll pump up the other one significantly, and that's the other reason that I wanted to hang on to this Good Witch, just so that way they'd both have a chance of surviving. Now, unfortunately, my opponent playing a Medusa here does mean that both of my Good Boys are going to go out, but we will still have the bonus gold from this prize pig, and we can see that JEBAS easily dispatches this Muerte, so we are definitely going to have a fun finals against them. We've picked up so many Good Boys, and now I'm going to add a Court Wizard to the board since everything is a royal, and all of the Good Boys will also be pumping up the Court Wizard as well. So this looks really strong. Just kind of debating on how I want to order this board, but I don't really think I can go too wrong here. The fact that JEBAS is most likely on Royals does mean that I probably just want to lead with my biggest Good Boys, because they will probably just attack into whatever and immediately die, and I don't really have to think about it too much more other than that. Like, so the other side of that is like maybe I don't want to support an upgraded good boy because supporting it might give it too much health that it won't die early, but I don't think that is going to be the case up against a Miri. And we can see this Miri is pretty big, but with all of these good boys, we are looking a little bit bigger. So that's going to give us an absolutely massive Court Wizard, a bunch of massive good boys, and if they can't get through this good boy either, they are. But if they couldn't, then we would have had a little bit more scaling even so, which would have just been incredible. We'll get to pick up another Court Wizard this turn, and from here, I'd consider Bearstain, but I think any other tier 6 character would be even better. Lordy, Oni Tyrant, those are the main two, but also like a Pumpkin would be good. We're going to wind up finding the Oni Tyrant though, and we've got exactly 3 things on the bench that we can sell to pick it up, and since everything is a monster, giving these good boys +10/+10 whenever they attack, and also giving these Court Wizards +10/+10 each whenever they trigger, both of those things are going to be quite powerful. So feeling pretty good at this stage of the game. We had 100% to win this past combat. We just got off to such an incredible start here with the Easter egg really propelling an early victory, which allowed me to buy so much extra XP and then find all of these good boys and the world tree and just scale everything in an absolutely incredible way. This actually looks to be a combat where we're going to have good boy survive and continue to bring those buffs. When you get those early wins with Easter egg, it is just so good because you get to take those buffs and then you're just so much more likely to win your next combats as well. And I wind up finishing this game off by casting yet another Knighthood, which again, as a reminder, is also giving +6/+6 to the good boy because of that Easter egg treasure. But JEBAS, to his credit, is not giving up. They find an upgraded good boy of their own, and they also have some powerful tier 6 treasures in Singing Sword and Pandora's Box, and we're not going to get to kill JEBAS this turn. They're going to survive at 3 HP, and Pandora's Box could give them something pretty good to help them battle against our world tree. I don't think I'm going to go for a Court Wizard here, an upgraded Court Wizard. I might have already said this, but I don't need a tier 4 treasure and I don't want to play down a Court Wizard, so not going to worry about that one. Not really going to worry about the Fog either. I do consider picking up this Pigomorph, and honestly probably should have. It's potentially the last combat of the game, but I wanted to see what else I could find, just a little bit more stats on everything, definitely considering that Toil and Trouble there. Then I actually wind up rolling past it. I cast a Lucky Coin and I find another Toil and Trouble and just wind up casting this. If any of these Toils or Troubles land on any of my good boys, all of those stats will be multiplied out a whole bunch, so that's definitely good. Also did consider for a second those copycats, but we are way too late in this game for copycats, and we can see that JEBAS finds a world tree of his own and a Medusa to scam one of our good boys. And one of the really cool things about a Miri that picks up a world tree is all of his units are getting +7, +14 from all of those Miri bonuses throughout the game. So he did have a really, really large good boy, but we just had more good boys and more Court Wizards and way too much power for him to overcome. But definitely a really, really good attempt at finishing off that lobby. But we are going to be stronger. Unfortunately for him, our game was just excellent, and we were able to just do some really good stuff here and finish up, stay strong pretty much throughout the entire time. I'd say that this went into the game as a tempo game, and then definitely high rolled, but it was also tempo because that's kind of just how Easter egg games play out. That is going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'm No Lux Given. Peace. This week's giveaway word is level. Each week I use a new code word. That's just to distinguish who's commenting for which week, and the reason I have you guys say a code word, that way I can tell who is interested in the dust and who's just commenting to say hi or that they enjoyed the video, stuff like that. You can definitely do both, just make sure you include this week's code word. You can also enter as many times as you want per week, once per video. You can go back, leave comments on old videos, just make sure they include this week's word, but there's no limit to how many times you can enter, other than, I guess, the amount of videos that I have. And I've been putting out a bunch of Storybook Brawl videos since last October, so yeah, there are a bunch of opportunities to enter to win. You can go through the backlog and watch some of those, but it's been really fun to receive the comments from you guys, get that level of interaction. You can also come join me on my Discord, which I'm trying to grow right now, just so that I have, one, feedback on my titles and thumbnails and things like that, but I also have some fun ideas for special game modes that I could make work with lobbies of players in the future. So feel free to check that out as well. There is a link to that in the video description, and help me climb on my way to 1,000 subscribers. I'm getting there slowly but surely, and thank you guys all very much for your support.